Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sian. Thank you so much, as always, guys, for taking the time to join me here to learn and to grow. I appreciate all the support. As always, all the liking and sharing and commenting and reviewing. It's always so beneficial to the podcast. And of course, we want to continue to grow so we can reach more of our colleagues and share these amazing stories that we're having on the podcast. So please do, as I always request, please do continue to share, put a screenshot up on Instagram, put a link on LinkedIn, send something to a friend via text, whatever you got to do to let people know that we're having these conversations. Today, I have a wonderful conversation with my good friend, Dr. Romie Dhaliwal and Arshdeep Manghera, who are business owners in Winnipeg. And we're going to talk about the importance of collaboration between ODs and opticians. We're going to talk about how you go about changing your career path, from associateship to ownership, and how you can brand your business and connect with the community to take it to a different level. A lot of amazing topics that we're going to be talking about. So thank you for joining me, and thank you guys for joining me, Romie and Arsh. I'm really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, us too. What an honor.
So why don't we do this? You know what? I meant to give the quick intro. Romie, ICO grad, practiced rurally for 12 years and decided to pivot. You're telling me things were not quite going the way you wanted them to go. And during pregnancy, you're like, okay, I'm going to go buy a clinic, and I want to, before you dive into that, and Arsh, the kind of intersection of your two stories, I think is so interesting. But Arsh is a licensed optician, has been practicing for 10 years and has an interesting story about his connection with now the business that he owns. So I'd love for you guys to kind of give me each of your little intros and then how you guys intersected to come to acquire this business together.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll start. Yeah. Go ICO. I have to represent ICO.
I love ICO grads have a lot of, what's the right word? Pride. That's the perfect word. Yeah, a lot of pride for the school. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I happen to have a few ICO friends, and every single one of them is always like repping. So I always got to do my part and say, go NACO. I always got to do that too. So go ahead.
Well, actually, I did get accepted there, and I was supposed to be in that class. So Chicago was where it was. But yeah, I came back to Winnipeg. I actually got to work with my mentor. So I was in high school and I shadowed her, and she's the one that wrote my reference letter for school, and hired me as soon as I graduated. So I didn't know anything but the practice I was at for 12 years, and it was amazing working with her. But I guess life had different plans. I was supposed to partner into that practice. It was going to be a group practice with 3 other doctors. And life, I guess, has other plans sometimes. And I was 6 months pregnant at the time, contemplating on whether I was going to continue there, be comfortable. It was very comfortable working at a practice for 12 years. But I got a phone call from this guy that I worked with in that rural town for 3 years. And he had left and started his own thing. And I was driving that 1 hour mundane drive I did for 12 years and stopped by a train. And I guess life was on track. That train bugged me for 12 years. But someone said to me one day, they're like, when you see a train, it usually means life is on track. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. And he called me and said, hey, do you want to take on a practice with me? Or I should say an optical. And I think I gave it 24 hours and I called him back and I'm like, let's do it. So that was that.
Quick decision. You definitely were at the right point in your life to make that call, right? Yeah. A lot of people would sit on that for a long time. Arsh, I think your story is really interesting, as well as how Academy Optical even came into your line of sight, if we're going to use it. But why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I had done my course out in BC, actually at the BC College of Optics, so shout out to them. But once I came back to Winnipeg, I was looking for a job and I decided to go all around the city and apply because I'm an in-person kind of thing. I don't like applying online. I like that. In person. Yeah. So I just went around the city, stopped at Academy Optical. I talked to the owners, who were husband and wife, and they told me that they weren't looking for an employee, but they were looking to sell it to somebody down the road. They were looking to retire. So I kind of kept in touch. I would pop by every now and then and just kind of sit down, talk with them, share some stories, share our experiences in the industry. And 7 years later, they decided to sell it to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think there's just such an important message there on that, like staying in touch, the communication, the networking, and the persistence also, right? I think a lot of people would have been like, it's been a couple of years, I'm out. These guys obviously are not selling, right? But you stuck together, or you stuck with it. And then you found each other. You thought to reach out to Romie. So this was, you said I think off air, Romie, you told me 30-year-old optical, like a staple in the kind of the community there. And you guys came in and you've converted it, and you really look like you've converted it very nicely. I love the logo behind you and all of that. Very, very modern, stylish looking, into a really great optometry practice now, optometry and optical, and you offer specialty care and all this kind of stuff. So you really have like brought it into the new age, modernized it all. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that, thought process of, or even just how you did that, because you did that pretty quickly, right? How long have you guys owned it now?
We've been here
2 years, I guess.
Just under 2 years. So July will be 2 years for us.
So I started with the original owner. So Rhonda Gordon was the optician at this location, and she had been, she's actually one of the first female opticians in Manitoba. She's been practicing for 50 years. Wow. And she's actually still an employee now of Academy Optical.
No way.
It's kind of cool. Awesome. She's a grandma. And so I started working with them first to learn their business, to learn their clientele for 7 months. And then we transitioned into ownership in the summer, almost 2 years ago. And Arsh wanted this place to look a certain way, almost like a jewelry store.
Yep.
Okay. I got you.
We have epoxy flooring. It's really bright in here. An island that has
actually same thing. The wall behind us is epoxy.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I see it.
We have an island in the middle that is full of glasses, but we wanted to transition this space into something that we can host a lot of like events in. That was what was in our mind. So the island actually moves, and it opens up the space so we can do a lot of collaboration with communities. So that's we renovated. You can talk about the reno because that was all you.
Yep. So we designed the whole thing together. There was no interior designer involved. It was it was all us.
I was worried.
That's impressive.
So I had blueprints. I had to work around where we needed a contact lens room, we needed a pre-test room, the exam lane. So we planned everything out. So it was all the both of us had done all of it.
And we didn't think the reno would happen as quickly as it did because we were only a year in, and I guess opportunity just presented itself and we're like, let's do it. So we were closed, unfortunately, for almost over a month and a half. That was a little hard. We got to reno the space within a year of taking over.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Good for you guys to do that. And I love that you had the vision of exactly what you wanted it to be. So do you feel like, Arsh, it came to pretty close to the vision that you had?
Yes, absolutely.
There
were some roadblocks, but we got through them, and it turned out really, really well.
That's amazing. Very cool to hear. Very cool to hear. And I'd encourage people to, anybody who is looking to design their practice or change it up, reno it, and you're looking for ideas, I think it's always a good idea to go look at other people's offices, right? And take ideas. So you might see something in Romie and Arsh's practice, their logo behind them now, or the way they've done their structure of the office. There might be some things that you could take away from it. It's always a good way to kind of get ideas for yourself. I want to talk about the idea of doing events in your space, but that's on my list of things we're going to talk about. But I think the first thing we really got to get into is probably the meat of this conversation, and probably the thing that might ruffle some feathers is this conversation about OD and optician collaboration and working together. What do you think? Maybe let's start with this. Where do you think the general population of ODs and opticians are as far as their thoughts of working together? Where do you think that relationship is right now?
I think it's more so like the optometrist is going to come up with a patient. They're going to tell the optician what lenses they need and what they should do, and then they leave it with the optician. I mean, I think
I'm thinking that the question is more like, where is the breakdown, like in terms of like optometrists? I find that a lot of optometrists own the practice and opticians work for the optometrist in Manitoba, especially. I can't say for BC, or the opposite, where the optician owns and there's optometrists working. That's the main breakdown, I think.
That is. Now, that's fair. My question is a little more on the sentiment side of things.
Okay.
And this is where things get a little tricky, and we want to be walking some fine lines. But like, would you say generally the relationship between ODs and opticians, is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? Is it strained? Is it collaborative? Where do you think, if there's a word that came to mind, how would you define it?
I think it'll be between
Strained.
like strained to neutral.
Okay, so that doesn't sound, that's probably not where we want it to be, right?
Yes.
And I think that's where the conversation, why I wanted to have this conversation, because I really think there's such a massive opportunity for us to take it from that strained to neutral to like super positive and collaborative.
Yes.
And I want others out there to hear the benefits of having a positive collaborative relationship like what you guys have.
Yes.
I would agree with you. I think that's kind of where it sits. And I always think it's a little tenuous, and it's a little like, people want to have this, and egos come into play. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for me about a lot of these relationships is ego. You know, I like Stoic philosophy, and there's one of the most popular books in Stoicism is ego is the enemy. And I believe that all the time. I think if all of us could let go of our ego, the world will be such a much better place. Our industry would be much better as well. So that is my thought. And I hope I ruffled a few feathers by saying some of those things. At least just a little tickle. Okay, so let's go into how you guys have built your relationship, and you think the benefits of being co-owners, and how does that look? Because I think maybe you're right. Like you're saying, most of the time it's an OD owns a clinic and they hire some opticians, or an optician owns a clinic and OD comes and kind of silos in the back and does their thing and then leaves. What is it like when you actually are working as peers?
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
It's a good first word. I like that. It's a good starting word.
It has taken our patient care from like neutral to above and beyond, and I think patients also see that. And that is part of the reason that keeps them coming back also. I
think just the numbers speak for themselves. Like we've really grown this business, like doubled in the first year.
Wow.
Our numbers are, I don't know, you're the numbers guy, but
we're doing well.
We're doing really well, and I think
that's taking a 30-year-old business and elevate. That's amazing.
And like, even our accountants were like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are doing good," and I'm like, "Oh, that's
They're
good."
Like, "Hey, what are you doing drugs on the side too, or like?"
Yeah, and even like the old owner, which is really cool for her to see. She was like, "I wish I could have done this when I had this practice." So. She didn't have an optometrist, and I think the way the situation was in this building was their optometrist upstairs, and she was downstairs on her own with glasses, and she just wishes that she's like, I wish I could have stayed on and owned the practice while I came on board, because she saw the growth and how much the practice needed that. And working together, honestly, it's been so eye-opening even for me. I've learned so much on the glasses side. I'm involved in the decisions of like what frames we're ordering. Arsh has been so amazing at the front. He's selling dry eye treatment, like, which is like, he knows so much about what services we offer, from him doing an amniotic membrane at the wet lab with Dr. Proja this past weekend. Compliments from everyone that he was maybe better than some of the ODs that were doing it. Maybe made some ODs uncomfortable to see him there. But they're getting familiar with his face. I think you know more ODs in the city than you do opticians now.
Yes, 100%.
So that's an interesting point, you know, because there's often a very clear divide between the front and the back, you know, quote unquote, of the clinic or the office, right? The front optical usually, and then the back, the doctor's space, quote unquote, again. But if you have this collaboration and you blur those lines, where now Arsh he's placed an amniotic membrane, he knows exactly what it feels and what it looks like. The level that he can speak to it while he's serving a patient at the front of the office is gonna, as you said, help convert patients in the dry eye space and the medical optometry side of things in a way that you normally wouldn't be able to. Like, as much as I might talk to my staff and my front end staff or my pre-test staff or my opticians about what I'm doing, they just won't be able to speak to it to that degree. And you know, I think that's hugely valuable. I do find it interesting that there were people in that room that were uncomfortable, and to be honest, I would probably have conflicted feelings too, right? Like I wouldn't. Like, I'd try, and I'm being very candid with you in this moment here, but I don't think I would feel negatively, but I would say interesting that there's an optician doing this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would come out of that, again, put the ego aside. Why am I thinking that way? Is this generally going to be better for us? And I think so. As long as this person is super professional and is learning for the right reasons, I think it's actually really great that you did that. And it's probably a good thing that you made people feel a bit uncomfortable.
Yep.
He had his AI glasses on, and he was in there recording and documenting what he was doing, which was really cool to see that video afterwards.
That's super cool. And the fact that it was Julian leading it is probably more helpful, because Julian has no problem ruffling people's feathers.
No, he really doesn't. He was encouraging.
No issue with it. So it's good that you have him leading that wet lab, right? If it was some other like stuffy type person, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't think you should be here."
Yeah. No, definitely not. We instantly connected. It was really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jules is great. Yeah. He's done a great job. But awesome. Yeah, I want to see that video that you did with the glasses. If you post that somewhere or share it, that'd be really cool.
It's actually really cool because it's a POV view. So it's sort of like, a camera strapped to your head and you're seeing everything that in real time. It ended up being a much cooler video than we thought it would be. So
you got to share that at some point. Please do.
Julian has it as well, so I'm sure Dr. Poja will share it.
Julian actually got a pair of our AI glasses. He visited our office and he's like, I need a pair, so he'll be seeing some good views.
Oh, I remember he just told me recently that he did get some edits. That's dope. Awesome. Okay, great. Good. I like that. How comfortable are you sharing like how you
have structured,
how your partnership is structured? Because I think that's going to be a question, right? Again, most of us have OD owns a practice and employs optician or optician and optometrist in the back, and they're not partners, right? So, if you, as much as you're comfortable sharing, I think that'll be helpful.
It took a lot of work, a lot of lawyer time, a lot of money.
They've never seen anything like this. Actually, I think we're like one of two offices in the city. A lot of banks, a lot of lawyers. No one had seen this breakdown, so I think we are definitely paving something here. So I do 100% optometry. That's separate. Yeah. And then the optical is 50-50.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because optometrists cannot be employed by any other entity, right? So that always has to be totally separate.
Yeah.
And so that's where you guys settled is 50-50 on the optical, and you feel like that's a good breakdown for you both. What about talking about the business protocols and like what am I looking for? Your systems and your training manuals and things like that. Did you guys work on those types of things together? Do you have some of those things that you've done?
So yes, we don't necessarily have like, the big training manual booklets that most like bigger clinics do. Because I'm always at the front. So we kind of have an understanding of like what we're doing and how we need to speak with patients and all of that. So I'm usually at the front. I know what the staff are saying. And if there's anything, then I'm there to correct them and sort of guide them in the right way. But I think that's going to be part of, as we grow, that we end up implementing a little bit more, because if we open up another location, I can't be at both places at once.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, at some point down the road, you'll want to start to step away and not have to be there every day. But that's really interesting you say that. I just think about, I have a business partner as well, Dr. Harleen Tekar, and if we were in the practice together at the same time, I think that would be so valuable, right? Because there will always be somebody watching and learning and adjusting and tweaking. But usually we're in separate. We're never like, we're like Batman and Bruce Wayne, right? We're never in the same place at the same time. She's in one office, I'm in the other, right? And we don't have that second person out front to monitor and see how things are going. So that's actually very cool that you have that. But yes, I imagine at some point you'll need to start to put things pen on paper a little bit.
As your staff is growing.
And I sort of got into that role at my previous practice, which I was also a sort of a part owner at. I was there for 6 years, and same thing, like I would always be at the front. So I would always see what the staff were saying and how they were reacting to patients. And sometimes I would sort of correct them and just kind of guide them in the way that they should be speaking and what words to use, what not to use.
Yeah. So our like, if just to give a quick alternate take, obviously we do have training manuals and things like that, but our other set of eyes then becomes, our office manager or whatever lead person is on at that given day. And that person needs to be like trained as highly as possible, so they hear and see the same things that we hear and see as the owners as much as possible, right? And so they try to make those adjustments for us. And I think that's another thing, as businesses grow, they start to put lead people in different positions to be the ones to kind of take control. So that becomes super valuable as well. I want to talk about your space and your, how you've connected with the community to kind of build your practice and build those relationships. You mentioned earlier you had envisioned a space that you could use for community events. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what type of events are you hosting? Have you hosted? And how valuable has that been for the practice?
Gosh, can I go with this?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's honestly so much fun. Our staff love it.
Yeah, I'm all about, like, I breathe local, I eat local, I wear local, and when the opportunity to own this practice on a street that I adore so much happened, I was like, yes, maybe that's why I said yes.
Location, hey, location, right?
Yeah, and so there's so many local businesses, like from bakeries to consignment places to jewelry. There's a lot of different businesses on the street, and I wanted optometry to feel part of like local business like that. I didn't want it to just be like, this is an optometry clinic or this is a dentistry clinic. Like, I want to be part of that community where things are being collaborated with, and to make optometry cool, And so we've hosted a comedy show in here, which has nothing to do with optometry, but there were a lot of fun glasses jokes and optometry jokes that came out of the local comedians. And we had like 50 people in this space.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And there's no like fees or anything. It was like we hosted it in here for free, and it's like advertising. It's people that live in the area.
Right.
So it's local comedians and small local comedians. But we have so many cool events coming up. One is Arsh, you could talk to. Your sister's kind of organizing that for us.
So my sister is part of the Winnipeg Sikh organization, and so they do a lot of events around town, and so we're kind of supporting that side of the community as well.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Very near and dear to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're supporting that. We're doing a little event in here with an artist, and
She's from Edmonton.
Yep.
And so it's like a fireside panel discussion about the World Sikh Organization has come up with some new data on some of the racism that's started with the community last while. So they're releasing some of that data, and so we're going to host that in our space. So something totally different. Our space is open to our community along with other communities. So trying something different there as well. And I think the next big one.
Then we're hosting another comedy show in here.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'll be next month. So we've got some other events and stuff coming up that we will host.
That's incredible. I think that's such a cool idea. I have seen other practices do some things like that, but for you guys to be able to share, how you've put that together, I think that's so valuable, and it gives me ideas too. I'm like, okay, what can I do in my space? What other ideas do you have as far as what other kind of things you could host potentially?
Yeah. So we did the Women, Wine, and Wellness. I didn't talk about that.
We host some events with our next door neighbors. They're chiropractors, and they're lovely people. We have an open door policy with them. We're basically one office.
Yes. We need one desk, but a lot of cross referrals happening there, which is
nice.
Which is really cool to see. But they hosted a event called Women, Wine, and Wellness, and they've had acupuncturists, they've had doctors, real estate agents, different areas where women thrive. And he's usually the only male during that event, pouring the wine for the ladies. But we had an acupuncture, we had a pelvic floor physio, we had an esthetician talk about makeup, and then I obviously did a dry eye menopause, perimenopause talk.
Cool.
So also engaged a lot of local patients. But future events, Arsh? Are you excited about this one?
Yes, very, very much so.
So it's with a local consignment clothing line, and they do luxury consignment. So nice. We had gone to their opening, and I just kind of planted a seed. I'm like, we have a lot of frame lines that would kind of match with some of the bags and clothing you have. So we were thinking of doing something where we collaborate with them with like a fashion show, with like say Fendi, Prada, yeah, that would like really be exciting to kind of see those two businesses come
That
together.
would be so awesome. Yeah,
Right.
that's amazing. Such great ideas, right? And I love that because you're integrating other businesses in this as well. So it's not just like, you do the comedy show, for example. That's just your business hosting, that event. But now you're also doing collaborative. You're cross now pollinating, you could say, with different customers and all of that. I think that's such a great idea. And the fact that it's a luxury consignment, I think that kind of is a key point as well, right? Because a certain type of clientele that you're trying to curate for yourself, that's really cool. I think there's really, really amazing ideas in there. I think, people who are listening who are maybe business owners might be taking some of this away that they can apply in their businesses as well. What about now, you mentioned a little bit in there with like chiros and these types of people, but what about connecting with other healthcare professionals and how that has been beneficial for your business as far as building your patient base?
Yeah. Arsh, since he loves doing things in person and I am the opposite, and he's the younger one and I'm the older one. Usually I'm just like text, email is fine with me. I do not want to do that. But you like to just show up to places. So you recently went to a rheumatology clinic.
Yep.
And connected. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, I was just going to go drop off, our information on the treatments we offer and drop off some business cards. But I always like to do it and like talk to the person I'm giving it to. So I, waited for the rheumatologist to be available and got a quick little conversation with her, introduced myself, told her what we're about, and just quick little blurbs like that. It helps to connect with people that way, and I feel like it builds some more trust.
Absolutely. So tell me, when you say you're dropping information off, what kind of, do you have something printed out, or what is it that you're dropping off usually in that case?
A lot of just like brochures, some information that
in mode brochures. I had typed out a letter just saying, hey, I'm new in the area. We're starting dry eye treatment. This is what we offer. If you have patients that have dry eye, please feel free to refer them over. And so that did definitely help. She started sending patients to me, and there's always that one patient that makes you want to do more, and that's why I was really interested in connecting with Dr. Proja with the amniotic membrane. And I actually got on a phone call with her. I actually talked to her on the phone. And she was so excited. I was shocked to hear how disabled that rheumatologists feel when it comes to dry eye. They're scared to prescribe things like Cequa and Restasis. And I was just I didn't know what to expect in that phone call, but she was willing to I'm like, if we host something, would you want to come? I can do a lunch and learn in your office. We can even do a demo. We can do some mybography. And she was really open to it. And she goes, oh my gosh, there's 6 rheumatologists in this office that would love to hear what we can do and how we can refer patients over. So I thought that would open up more doors for us to kind of connect with rheumatology. And so that might be another event that I will be hosting very, very soon in our space.
Fantastic. That's amazing. So, but it all started with making the effort to show up and have that conversation and shake a hand. That kind of old school approach, which is so important. We're going to talk a little bit about like marketing and branding and stuff like that, because I know you guys are doing that too. But these old school boots on the ground things, these community events, I think are becoming almost more important now. It's like it's always a pendulum, right? Everything. It's like, so it went really far over. Everything's digital. Everything's Facebook market ads, Google ads, all that. And then that starts to become a bit more expensive and a bit more competitive, and it's not quite as easy of a playing field as it used to be. And the pendulum starts to come back a little. It's like, well, these boots on the ground things are actually still here and still valuable. Now people are valuing them even more, because it's like, well, thanks to COVID, I haven't seen people in person nearly as much as I used to, and it's nice to kind of do those face to face. So good for you guys. I will say on this note, I like to. We have little brochures and things like that we make for the office. A lot of times I'm doing it myself in Canva or something along those lines. So I like to say on the podcast, for those who are listening, if you're looking for something, some sort of template, I'm always happy to just hand my stuff out for free. To be honest, if you want to see what I have, first of all, I always ask people, don't judge me, because it's not like the prettiest looking thing. But like, if you just want a starting point, you're like, I don't know where to start to make a brochure about dry eye. Like I have one, for dry eye, for myopia management. That's like, here's one for the patient to say, here's how we do dry eye, and here's a technology we offer. I have another one that's more for MDs or ODs to say, hey, let's collaborate, and I have this device in my office, or I can fit scleral lenses, and like, let's work together. So if you're looking for a template, I'm happy to send you mine. Just message me on Instagram at harbirsian.od, or you can email me at what's my email? Info at the2020podcast.com. Shoot me an email and I will be happy to send that over to you. Okay. So anyways, now let's anything else on that topic as far as like collaborating, networking, those types of things?
I just want to say that Arsh, like, there's been patients that have come in and, you know, a patient will put on their glasses and be like, you know, it's still not clear. And then he'll go into it. He'll be like, maybe your eyes are dry. Oh, have you heard of this? Or, you know, and I honestly, the fact that he knows so much has helped me, because I'm in the back and I don't see everything, but he has so much more patient interaction at the front desk. People that are not even my patients that just come in to browse at glasses, you know, complain about their eyes being dry. And the fact that he knows so much now has really helped drive dry eye patients into my room. So I just wanted to highlight that.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and that sort of becomes part of the whole, like, I'm trying to learn about this so I can help, like, guide people in the right direction that they need to be. It's not just about, also build our business at the same time.
Absolutely.
But I want less of it to be like, if they ask questions, I don't want to be like, okay, hold on, let me go ask the doctor. And then they ask more questions, hold on, let me go ask the doctor.
Yeah, right.
You know, so as an optician, I can understand these things, I can learn how it works, and I can give them basic information and then sort of let them know, like, okay, you have a lot of options here. There are specific things we can do to help you, but I think that would be a better conversation with the doctor. So let's get you booked in for an appointment.
Yeah, love that. That's awesome. I think that's hugely valuable. So that's really great that you have that knowledge and you're comfortable sharing it, right?
Yeah.
You're comfortable enough having that discussion. So let's talk a little bit about branding, marketing. You're telling me that you're hiring somebody and you're creating a different sort of you're taking a different sort of an approach to maybe traditionally what you'll see in eye care. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that and, you know, what you expect or you're excited to see from that. Yeah.
So yeah, I found somebody through Instagram. I had been following her for a year, and she does a lot of the influencer type of collaborations. That's the new thing now, is local influencers coming into businesses and helping to grow the business and advertise that way. And I was always interested in doing that. And I'm like, you know, if I'm doing events like this, I need somebody, like, I have a lot of ideas and you have so many ideas, and we'll collaborate, but they just stay as ideas, and you need somebody to kind of orchestra, everything else. So we're hiring somebody to help us with that. And it will involve us to rebrand a little bit and build our social media presence. And so we're having like monthly meetings. There's a designer. We literally rebranded ourselves a year and a half ago. And I was like, does it make sense to do this again? But when we first started,
you say rebranding, are you rebranding as far as like logos and fonts and all that kind of stuff, or more so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, we're like fonts. Like, I didn't know that there was so much. I'm like, I don't know if optometrists have brand books, but like, she was asking me about our brand book, and we're like, this paper, and she was like, kind of laughed at me, and she's like, well, actually, a brand book's like 50 pages long, and I'm like, wow, I don't know anything about this world, and so. Yeah, like how you talk, your lettering, your overall look to make it more fluid and presentable. Icons, I didn't even know that was a thing, like little icons. So she's asking how I was like, I love the color green. It all started with this moss wall. It's all about growth in my mind. Are we going to change that color? I don't know. But, you know, I'm willing to try something different because she has a vision and she's very experienced and she's worked with a lot of big brands, local companies in Winnipeg. And so, we're going to take it to the next level and see, you know, what comes out of it. If it's, you know, we're getting into the aesthetic space. So not just for optometry, but for the optical side. And as much as Arsh loves the glass, you know so much about glasses, he's not the greatest at like posting and taking pictures, right? Like
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not a social media person really.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. And to be honest, like most of us, I would say almost all optometry or eye care people are not, we don't understand branding and marketing and all these things, and whether it's social media or not. There are some out there, don't get me wrong, if somebody's listening and saying I am one of those people, that's great, good for you, but like most of us are not those people, right? If somebody asked 90, 100 optometrists, do you have a brand book? I'm sure 99 would say no, because we don't think about those things and we're not experts in that space, but it can be truly valuable. It seems a little initially surface level, like, oh, I'm just changing the font or I'm changing the color scheme or whatever, but something else happens that slowly kind of starts to become more to your, as an human being, in your core too. Like, oh, these are the colors I've selected for this reason. This is the logo I've selected for this reason. It starts to become more ingrained in you, in the way that you present yourself and you talk about your practice and you talk to your patients. For example, recently somebody asked about our office, Clarity Eye Care, and why we call it Clarity. And I was like, well, there's the obvious, like, eye vision relation, clarity of vision.
Yeah.
But our logo is actually the top of a diamond. And because clarity is one of the C's, right? When you're looking at a diamond. And so for me, that felt like that's the level of service. That's the level of clarity. That's, all of a sudden you think diamond and you think at a different level than clarity from a pair of glasses. And so that starts to become part of how you talk about it, right? And how you present it. So I think it's actually really valuable.
Yeah.
And that came from a friend of mine who is a designer and a branding guy. That didn't come from me. So that is to give you credit to you for doing it.
Yeah.
Because those types of ideas, our brains don't necessarily think that way, right? So, but you need a branding person to help you with that. And I want to give him a shout out, Dav Dio. If anybody's looking for a branding person, Dio Studios, look him up, DEO, or Studio, STUDEO. Anyway, he's a great guy, and he has insane ideas that like normal people like us wouldn't think of. So that's where branding people come in to be valuable. I want to talk to you about the influencer side of things. Have you done any influencer? Because I have a story I want to share with you too about that. But have you done any of this influencer type marketing for your business?
Not yet. We wanna get into it, and then also, like, because we host so many events in our space, it becomes a little bit more like a networking event for everybody involved. So it's not just for us. It's actually, again, like, we're trying to build that community and get some further connections, and also just kind of build our own.
We haven't yet, but we want to.
I think it's something that I don't want to hijack. You're the guest and you're supposed to be sharing your stories. I'm the podcast host. I tend to hijack and tell my own stories from time to time. So I want to get your thoughts on this. So, for we've done some influencer stuff in our clinic over the years, and I've spoken about it in lectures that I've given you. I've given these marketing lectures and things like that. And people look at me, it's always the last thing I talk about, because I know people are going to be like, I don't know if that's for me. But it can be, if you do it right, super valuable. And I love that you guys are already so hyper local. That is, in my opinion, the best way to approach it. You don't need some big national let me rephrase that. You don't want some big national, international influencer with 1 million followers. You do not want that person. You want the micro, local, blogging about Winnipeg, the street that you're on, and the bakery next to you. That's the person you want.
Yes.
Because that person is going to draw in people from your neighborhood. You're not going to. It would be lovely if somebody flew from Vancouver to buy a pair of glasses from you. Okay, I'm sure that would be very great for your ego. But what do you really want? What's sustainable? Is somebody who could drive 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because they follow that person.
Yes.
And that's what we should be aiming for. And what you're doing, having a branding person who specializes in that, who can connect you. I think there are some forums and platforms where you can connect with influencers as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's as simple as put it out on your own social media. Like, hey, we're looking for somebody to work with, right?
Yeah.
And find it.
And she was even, sorry to interrupt, but
please go ahead.
She even said, she's like, I've never thought or never have worked with an optometry clinic before. And her exact words were, I thought it would, I was thinking it might be a little bit boring, but you guys have really, I'm like, she's following us now, but she's like, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm like, good. I want you to be excited about it.
It's going to be fun. Trust me. When you find 1 or 2 influencers that you do like to work with, it's a lot of fun, because then all of a sudden you get excited and you start throwing out all sorts of ideas.
Yeah.
And obviously, as things go, some things don't work, some ideas don't pan out, but others will be really exciting for you. There's a lady who lives near our office, relatively close, and she's actually, if I said that her name, you would know who she is, but she's very well known, Indian lady, and super sweet, really nice, and has a really, really, really engaged following on social media. And I used to have an online eyewear brand myself like 8 years ago, and I connected with her to do some of that stuff. And she had so much engagement. Like, those people who know Instagram and how it works will understand what I'm saying here. But she would wear a pair of the glasses on her story. She wouldn't talk about it. She would just write on the bottom, "glasses from," and we would sell 5 pairs of that exact frame, that exact color that day.
Wow.
If she did in her story says, "Hey guys, my glasses are from," we would sell 10 pairs of glasses that day. That exact color, we sold out that exact color, nothing else, just that one. So very, very clear. All right. And we just had this very loose agreement with her, like, just whenever you want, please just mention it. I'll just give you as many pairs of glasses as you want. Then at a later time, she came in and we did an RF treatment on her, just one time. And it was like facial treatment for a little bit of aesthetics, jawline, stuff like that. I didn't actually know that she was in. She was with my business partner, and my business partner did the treatment. For that day, I started getting so many phone calls on my cell phone, random numbers. And I missed them all because I don't usually answer numbers that I don't recognize. Right. And eventually I was like, I have to, why am I getting a call like every 30 minutes here? So I answered and I was like, hi, hello. And they're like, hey, is this the place that does those treatments, facial treatments? I was like, what? Why are you calling my cell phone? I realized for whatever reason, our Instagram account had my cell phone number on it. I don't know why. No. And these people had seen the video on our story of this lady getting an RF treatment. I literally received 10 phone calls that day.
Wow.
And I was like, I got to call all these other people back. Phones they ignored, and book them in. Like, let's get you in for a consultation. Let's get you. Some influencers can be truly influential. Mm-hmm. A lot of them truly are. There's a bit of fluff, but if you get the right one, it can be very valuable. That's what that story is about. And I've worked with, on the flip side, older ladies, and one of them just, they've become kind of friends now, but one of them just came in for an eye exam recently. We started throwing around ideas again for a new collaboration. But about 4 or 5 years ago, they're in their late 40s at that time. And I saw one of them on Instagram was talking about the fact that she has her readers on her head in that photo. And she was like, bless her. She was like, F it. I'm just going to post a picture with the readers on my head. And I was like, good for you. And at that time, I didn't know her personally. I commented on her Instagram, like, you look amazing. The glasses look great. By the way, have you heard of multifocal contact lenses? And so she came in for a contact lens fitting. And then her sister came in for a contact lens fitting. And then her sister's like, my eyes are too dry for contacts. I was like, cool, let's do RF on you. And then she posted about that. And we had people coming in like, hey, I saw that this lady posted on her Instagram about these contacts. It works. It works. Okay, if you do the right people, is that what the point of that very long story is? But so I would encourage you to keep doing it. I would encourage anybody who's listening to look for those influencers. I apologize for hijacking, but I'm going to let you come back.
It was really good.
Hear your thoughts about the story that I just
hear that we're on the right path here to these kinds of
you're on the right track, like that train.
My cell phone number was actually on the receipts that we print out, the credit card receipts, and I got a phone call from a patient that got the number off of that receipt.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
I would not be happy with that.
That's another lesson. Put the correct phone number.
Yep. So we changed that pretty quickly.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Any other stories or any other insights you want to share about, optician optometry relationship or building your practice, anything out there of this? You're still on the journey. It's been a couple of years. Like, I love that stage because a lot of times you'll see a really big successful optometry clinic and somebody who's starting out and they have a hard time connecting the dots. I feel like you guys are in the middle here. You might have more insights to share.
I think for both optometry and opticians, we just need to kind of open our mind a little bit and work together. Instead of kind of shutting each other out and saying, I know about this and I know about that. I think working together is the main thing here. And that will elevate your business. It'll elevate your patients. It'll help you give better patient care and also attract more patients to your business as well.
Yeah, because we both know now. I know so much about the glasses side. As was when I was an associate, I didn't really care. I shouldn't say I didn't really care, but it was different. Right now, like, I mean, this practice is small enough that I can hear about the problems from my exam room, and I can come out and immediately like talk to Arsh, and we collaborate right there in that moment to fix the problem. It's not going on for weeks and weeks where the patient has to get through, so many barriers. So I feel like working together has made it so much easier to problem solve. And like that, I think that's the beauty of it, right? Like, we're talking about collaboration with other businesses, but if we're not collaborating with each other, then how can we collaborate with other businesses, So I think like it's been so valuable, and just for optometrists to be open-minded to try this and not be scared of it. And maybe we hear horror stories, and maybe there have been horror stories, but they don't always have to be that way. There are positive stories, and we want to kind of shine light to our positive story. And it's working out really well for us.
I love that. I love that you said shine the light, because that's a conversation that phrase has been in my mind for the last few weeks more prominently. And just yesterday having a conversation with a good friend and encouraging my friend to be the light. And I did a podcast just like 2 weeks ago.
I listened to it. I listened to
and
that.
So I appreciate that you said that, because when you shine a light, if you are the light or shine the light, you just help guide other people. You provide that illumination for other people on their path and their journey. I think that's really what I want this to be. So thank you for saying that. On that note, I want people to, there's maybe people on their journey who want to learn more, who want to understand a bit more of how you created this partnership. If those people wanted to connect with you, how could they do that?
Instagram
would probably be the quickest, and we're more than happy to help anyone. We're very, very open.
Our email is eyesonacademy@gmail.com. That will go to both Arsh and I. We're on Instagram as Academy Optical. I'm on there as Dr. Romie Dhaliwal. But yeah, any questions we'd love to answer. I'm not afraid to talk about this partnership or how it's broken down. Like, I found that when I was asking around, actually in different provinces as well, people seem to hesitate to want to talk about the breakdown. And so, we're very open.
Yeah, we're not shy about that. If we can help somebody, we absolutely will. There's no question about it. I love that. Feel free to reach out anytime. I mean, thank you. I always tell everybody we're very unprofessionally professional.
I like that. That's very good. And that's how we should be. We gotta be willing to be a little lighthearted and to be a little, make fun of ourselves a little bit, or just be comfortable with being uncomfortable, unprofessionally unprofessional, or unprofessionally professional, however you want to phrase it. I love it. That's good. And thank you for being open to having that conversation. I think over the years, I've seen it too in various ways where people won't share information. And I think it's the way I've kind of sussed it out is I think there's two types of people there. And I don't worry too much about which type I'm talking to, but I just think there's two types of people. One is there are some people who are gatekeeping, and I don't love that, obviously. People who just want to hold information close to the chest, because I think, again, ego comes into it and they don't want the competition or whatever you want to call it. But I think there's a second type of person that is maybe just afraid of sharing because they don't know if they did it right, and they don't want to be judged, and they don't want to be, look silly or whatever. I think those are the two most common type of people when they don't want to share information. If you are somebody who's listening and you're the second person, be comfortable with sharing. That's the only way you're going to know, right? If you're doing it right, or if you could do it better, or maybe you're doing it fantastically and you just haven't realized it because you haven't run it by somebody, and you could help yourself feel better. You could help the other person feel better who you shared information with as well. So I would encourage everybody to be unprofessionally professional and have conversations. I think it's a really great idea.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Or just get out of that comfort zone. Like, getting out of that comfort zone is so important. And when you get too comfortable, you don't grow.
Yeah.
There's a quote, right?
Yep. I've had to cold call all the opportunities I've gotten in my life. So I would absolutely tell everyone, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
The worst they can say is no, in which case it does not change the situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You win or learn, basically, are the only two outcomes in session like that. Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys. So, let me just go through it again. eyesonacademy@gmail. That's the email. .com. Academy Optical on Instagram. Dr. Romie Dhaliwal. Arsh, are you on Instagram? You're on Instagram.
I am now, actually.
He started
as of about a week ago. You can
Sad story
find me.
though. Sad story though.
You can find me at the Tailored Optician.
Which one? Sorry.
The Tailored Optician.
Tailored Optician. Very good.
You can say it. Come on, just say it. We're professionally unprofessional here. You're not the which one?
I'm not the optical tailor. I am the Tailored Optician.
Ah, okay.
He was so inspired by that Instagram account for years, and he wanted to do this. It's very close, but it's not the same.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they didn't like that very much, and they ended up blocking him, me, the business, and our personal account. Yeah, and I'm like, he was so nice about it. He even messaged that I've been following your journey for so long. I'm not doing the same thing. I'm doing my own. I hope you don't mind. It was very.
I'm opening up Instagram right now. Okay, tell me again. The optical tailor is the other one.
Yeah, out of Mississauga. We're not even in the same city, and I was like, wow, like talk about not collaborating, right? Like, he's actually looking at them.
Yeah, that's not cool. I mean.
I mean, the names aren't like
they're similar, but
they're different enough where you're not gonna be confused.
Look, there are other Clarity eye cares out there. Nobody messaged me to get upset with me about opening my office.
I know, even my personal Instagram. I was really shocked at the effort.
Okay, well, again, collaboration versus competition. These are things that we want to try to stay on the right side of that line.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you being so open to sharing as much as you have, and I think it's going to be really helpful for many, many people out there. I would encourage our friends who are listening, if you have more questions, reach out to Romie and Arsh. If you want that brochure template thing I was telling you about, just email me, message me. I mean, if you took anything out of this conversation that you liked, please put a screenshot up on Instagram and tag all of us and tell us what you loved about it, and just start a little bit of a conversation. We love having those interactions. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate you being here. And thank you to everybody who's listening and watching to the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I'll see you guys in the next episode.